Prostitution in Thailand. Prostitution in Thailand is not itself illegal, but public solicitation for prostitution is prohibited if it is carried out openly and shamelessly or causes nuisance to the public. Due to police corruption and an economic reliance on prostitution dating back to the Vietnam War, it remains a significant presence in the country. It results from poverty, low levels of education, and a lack of employment in rural areas. Prostitutes mostly come from the northeastern Isan region of Thailand, from ethnic minorities or from neighboring countries, especially Cambodia, Myanmar, and Laos. In 2019, the Joint United Nations Program on HIV/AIDS, UNAIDS, estimated the total population of sex workers in Thailand to be 43,000. The legal framework governing prostitution in Thailand is based upon 3 acts: Prevention and Suppression of Prostitution Act. The Prevention and Suppression of Prostitution Act, BE 2539, is the statute most directly dealing with prostitution. Under the Act, the definition of prostitution is sexual intercourse, or any other act, or the commission of any other act in order to gratify the sexual desire of another person in a promiscuous manner in return for money or any other benefit, irrespective of whether the person who accepts the act and the person who commits the act are of the same sex or not. A clear definition of the phrase "in a promiscuous manner" is not provided. Under the Act, persons who solicit sex in an open and shameless manner, a phrase that is not clearly defined, or who are causing nuisance to the public, are subject to a fine. Persons associating in a prostitution establishment with another person for the purpose of prostitution faces a jail term or a fine or both. The term prostitution establishment is clearly defined in Section 4 of the relevant Act, and it may be broadly interpreted to include any place where prostitution takes place, especially in regard to cases involving sexual abuse of children that carry heavier penalties, up to 6 years if the child is younger than 15 years of age. Otherwise, the law is not usually enforced against prostitution in private places. The Act also imposes heavier penalties against owners of prostitution businesses and establishments. The Criminal Code also stipulates penalties for procuring or using money earned from prostitution. The Prevention and Suppression of Prostitution Act was written with a particular focus upon sexual abuse and trafficking of children. Section 8 penalizes those who sexually abuse children under the age of 15 years, with a prison term of 2 to 6 years and a fine of up to 120,000 baht. For child victims between the ages of 15 and 18 years, the prison term is 1 to 3 years, and the fine is up to 60,000 baht. In regard to trafficking, Section 9 of the Act states that any person who procures, seduces, or takes away any person for the prostitution of such person, even with her or his consent, and irrespective of whether the various acts which constitute an offense are committed within or outside the kingdom, shall be liable to imprisonment for a term of 1 to 10 years and to a fine of 20,000 to 200,000 baht. Since the Vietnam War, Thailand has gained an international reputation among travelers from many countries as a sex tourism destination. The precise number of prostitutes in Thailand is difficult to assess. Estimates vary widely and are subject to national and international controversy. No Thai government has ever conducted a formal survey. A 2004 estimate by Chulalongkorn University gave a total of 2.8 million sex workers, including 2 million women, 20,000 adult males, and 800,000 minors under the age of 18, but the figures for women and minors were considered to be grossly inflated by most observers and to have resulted from poor research methods. According to a 2001 report by the World Health Organization, the most reliable suggestion is that there are between 150,000 and 200,000 sex workers. In its annual human rights report for 2008, the U.S. State Department noted that a government survey during the year found that there were 76,000 to 77,000 adult prostitutes in registered entertainment establishments. However, NGOs believed there were between 200,000 and 300,000 prostitutes. The State Department's 2013 Human Rights Report for Thailand made no estimates of the extent of prostitution, but in 2015, Havocscope, a database providing information about the global black market, gave an approximate figure of about 250,000 for the number of prostitutes working in Thailand. UNAIDS in 2015 estimated the total population of sex workers in Thailand to be 147,000. It has been suggested, for example, that there may be as many as 10,000 prostitutes on Koh Samui alone, an island resort destination not usually noted for prostitution, and that at least 10% of tourist dollars may be spent on the sex trade. An estimate published in 2003 placed the trade at $4.3 billion per year, or about 3% of the Thai economy. In 2015, Havocscope said that about $6.4 billion in annual revenue was being generated by the trade, a figure which accounted for 1.6% of Thailand's GDP. Havocscope says that sex workers in Thailand send an annual average of US $300 million to family members who reside in more rural areas of Thailand. In 1996, the police in Bangkok estimated that there were at least 5,000 Russian prostitutes working in Thailand, many of whom had arrived through networks controlled by Russian gangs. The primary tourist prostitution zones of Thailand are often identified as the red light districts of Bangkok and Pattaya, as well as Patong Beach Resort on Phuket Island. In addition, Hat Yai and other Malaysian border cities cater to Malaysians. In Bangkok, the areas most commonly associated with prostitution include the entertainment district of Patpong, as well as locations in the western Sukhumvit Road area, such as the street called Soy Cowboy and the Nana Plaza building. The area known as the Ratchadaphisek Entertainment District, running along Ratchadaphisek Road near the Huai Quang intersection, is the location of several large entertainment venues, which include sexual massage. Lumphaní Park in central Bangkok is well known as a prostitution spot after dark. In Pattaya, the primary areas associated with prostitution are Boys Town, Cine Plaza, and Walking Street. Rather than face of the risks of working independently, many sex workers choose the relative safety that comes with fixed employment in businesses such as karaoke bars, massage parlors, or brothels. Prostitution may take place in a number of different types of venues, including brothels, hotels, massage parlors, restaurants, saunas, hostess bars, go-go bars, and beer bars. Many other service sector workers offer sexual services as a sideline. Thai prostitution is divided into different sectors that serve different markets, the main criteria being the socioeconomic status of customers and the nationality of both customers and prostitutes. Straightforward brothels, which offer no services aside from sex, represent the lower end of the market. These are most common outside Bangkok, serving low-income Thai men. Profiting from prostitution is prohibited under Thai law, but karaoke bars and massage parlors can be registered as normal, legal businesses. When arrests of sex workers occur at such premises, police usually treat the act of prostitution as an exchange between the sex worker and the client, an exchange to which the owner of the business was not a party. Although uncommon, cases of foreign clients being charged have happened, with Pattaya being the location in which most foreigners have been caught up in a police raid. Owners of such establishments are only accused of crimes when breaking other laws, such as the employment of underage workers or illegal migrants. Soapy massage establishments, akin to Japanese soaplands, typically provide either an oil massage, nude body massage, or a bath treatment, which includes sexual services. In this type of establishment, male clients can engage in sexual activity with female prostitutes. Prostitution establishments targeted at locals are usually bathing, sauna, massage parlors of this type. There are so many soapy massage businesses in some sections of Bangkok, using massive quantities of water pumped illegally from groundwater, that they have been accused by authorities of contributing to Bangkok's subsidence of 1 centimeter per year. The economics of prostitution in Thailand, the prostitution industry, the buying and selling of the human body and sex itself, has long been established through its ubiquity within modern and historic societies, transcending across cultures and socioeconomic barriers. Thailand, a developing Southeast Asian country, is notorious for its sex tourism sector, which has contributed to a self-perpetuating cycle of prostitution, trafficking, and illicit activity, especially in urban areas. The effects of this are overwhelmingly negative. Prevalence of disease, poverty traps, and abuse outline the severity of a growing and unregulated sex industry. Despite attempts from policymakers to legislate and combat the predominance of the trade, they have been unsuccessful due to weak enforcement and deterrent effects. Instead, by considering the way the sex work market can be modeled like that of a product market, Policymakers could consider alternate policies, such as taxes, to provide socially optimal and desired outcomes. Thailand, since the 1970s, has become notorious for its sex trade, sex tourism, and the prostitution economy. Its high visibility in tourist areas such as Bangkok and Pattaya are well known, has contributed to an international reputation which establishes the foundations and incentives that magnetizes women into the industry. The theory of prostitution proposed by Edland and Korn, 2002, models such a market as that of any other occupation in terms of demand and supply of labor. Economic theory demonstrates that when demand for a product rises, so too does that of its labor and hence wages, which seems to be the case in the prostitution market. The creation of a wage differential, especially between the urban and rural sphere, creates a strong incentive for low-skilled rural women to enter the market. Indeed, Ellis, 1936, denotes the incomparable wage gains for women in prostitution that easily rivals those in typical menial jobs, noting that domestic workers barely make a living wage in Thailand, earning approximately $8 per day, done 1994, and highlighting that sex work earns 6 times that of other unskilled work, Nagaraj and Yaya, 1998. The economic incentive for prostitution seems paramount for the young, rural woman. Yet, her rationale for entrance into the market may be compounded when considering the wider context of household debt and poverty traps in rural Thailand. A shady side of paradise, sex tourism in Thailand. Popular among tourists for its vibrant nightlife and luxurious beaches, Thailand's tourism industry is picking up after a dip during the pandemic. But the happy economic boost comes with a shadow, the return of Thailand's infamous sex tourism industry, which necessitates and supports child sex trafficking. A 2014 report by the Joint United Nations Program on HIV/AIDS, UNAIDS, notes Thailand accommodated over 123,530 female sex workers and 18,239 male sex workers in 2010. In 2007, nearly 40% of sex workers in Thailand were children or minors under 18. Girls and boys, many impoverished and some as young as 8 years old, find themselves coerced into the prostitution industry across Thailand, where locals exploit them for money provided by pedophiles and foreign sex tourists. Child prostitution is more lucrative than the adult sex industry, and with Thailand being the most unequal country globally regarding its income and wealth gap, some Thai families resort to prostituting their children to make ends meet. The sex industry's contribution to the country's GDP is uncertain due to its clandestine nature. In 2015, the black market research firm Havocscope approximated its worth at $6.4 billion annually, equivalent to around 1.5% of Thailand's GDP that year. According to the 2017 Safe Child Report, traffickers in Thailand primarily target children, hailing from impoverished rural backgrounds and minority ethnic regions. Children are particularly vulnerable in Pattaya, Phuket, and northern Thailand, with street children the primary targets for child pornography. In Pattaya in 2015, 90% of the 200 street children surveyed were victims of such abuse. Although sex work is legally prohibited in Thailand, its laws are ambiguous and loosely enforced. Sexual services, including those involving minors, are readily accessible in prominent red-light districts such as Patpong in Bangkok and massage parlors, go-go bars, or sex-focused karaoke bars. Several NGOs in Thailand have started tackling child trafficking. Their work involves tracing thousands of missing or trafficked children and working to pull them out of the forced and exploited world of sex work. One such local organization was started by Boom Mosby, a prominent advocate for child victims of sexual abuse. In 2011, the Hug Project initiative in Chiang Mai collaborates with law enforcement agencies and the government to prevent child sex trafficking. So far, the project has assisted 141 child victims of sex or human trafficking and held 942 training workshops for law enforcement. These NGOs actively raise awareness and support vulnerable communities through educational initiatives, survivor rehabilitation, aftercare services, and collaboration with Thai policymakers. A blend of government-led protective initiatives and collaborative endeavors bolsters efforts to rehabilitate rescued children. NGOs also use creative means like social media to disseminate awareness and secure funding. They have introduced innovative apps such as Protect You, which informs victims of their rights and spotlights protection shelters while also encouraging to report trafficking.